One question I get asked quite a bit in my role here at Huddle is how to do time on ice in a hockey context. And there are so many different ways to do time on ice, whether it be through live sharing, whether it be through live streaming, whether someone just captures independently on another sports code capture altogether. But one of the more popular methods of doing time on ice coding is through using Coda. Coda being Huddle's iPad solution in terms of like cutting up film. Code is a bit of an interesting product because it's like, thematically a little bit different from Huddle's other stuff. Like everything here is, got these orange logos, and then here's Coda with this like green army badge looking icon. But it's actually a very good product. It's very cool. It's very practical. And what's really nice about it as well is you can create these tagging templates on your Mac and then transfer them to the iPad. So that's what I'm going to do, just because it's a bit easier to use a mouse and keyboard as opposed to using your fingers on a iPad touchscreen. What I want to do is I want to create a tagging template for time on ice, something that's a little bit generic so everyone can use it. It probably won't take very long, but it will be good to have. Straight off the bat, I'm wondering if there's a way to have some way of creating like a shape that tells me how big like a screen's going to be on my iPad. I don't know if that's really possible. View, no. Oh, here we go. Probably want to use this landscape. Well, it's not very practical, is it? I might not do that. That's a nice feature though. I didn't even know that was a thing. There you go. I'm learning stuff as well. So I want to create a event. An event being what Huddle or Coda calls like code buttons. A little bit of a difference there. And I probably want to make this bigger because it's going to be what I select. I've seen templates in the past. My colleagues have made templates in the past where they have an image, and that probably makes sense. But I'm trying to make this generic, so I can just give it to anyone and it still works. So I'm going to go 150 by 50. I probably want to make it square. I don't know if you can wrap text. Code is again not my strength. I don't use Coda very often, so this is a learning experience for me as well. I might go back to 125 to make it a little bit more square, and let's make this 75. There we go. That's a good sized button for me right there. Now I don't really want to make this, I don't want this to be blue. Let's go for a generic gray. Let's go with aluminium, not aluminum, aluminium. And let's give it a wider stroke. Stroke could be black. There we go. So this is one thing you definitely don't get in sports codes, the ability to change the actual shape of the button. I like the rounded rectangle. And this is going to be 0 player 1. It's going to be my player's name. Actually, let's just be even more generic. Insert player. Here's my player's name. We want no lead and lag time. We don't want any exclusive links. We don't want anything like that. Happy with all of this, and we'll get to the activation and deactivation links here in a second. But here's my first button. Now, from my previous hockey window, my hockey code window that I made, my generic code window, I kind of had this set up for time on ice, just as like a way of coding it on Sportscode, where I had all the forwards and all their different lines and then the defensemen. So I'm probably going to do something similar. What I'm looking at here is just how many forwards lines you might have and how many defense lines you might have. So I'll probably do something similar with the amount of players. I'm going to fly that off to my second screen beside me. So let's have 1, 2, and 3. What I don't love about Coda is it's kind of hard to gauge how close something is. So I might have to do the classic 1, 2, 3 sort of thing. But here's my first forwards line. And I'm actually wondering whether I want to move the names. Can I do that? No. One thing I didn't change was this. I always go light. I always like light names. Oh, you can move it. Okay, that's good. So why I'm moving that here in a second will be a bit obvious, but let's move that up here. There we go. So you're going to delete these because what I didn't do what I wanted to do first. So I'm going to actually also add a counter. I'm going to put the counter there. And I probably want to make the counter, oh crap, that's not what I want. I want to make the counter I want to link it to my button behind it. I want to show the total time. Total time. Again, there's no way to really centralize this, which I don't love. I want to make this text smaller. It's too big. That's too small. 18 would be good. I want to make it the same color. No, that's the text. Don't want to do that. There we go. No, that's still the text. Still don't want to do that. There we go. Can you not change the button color? Seems a bit silly. Don't know what's going on here. For some reason, that's the width of my button. Very bizarre. Oh, okay, well the white thing goes away. Okay, well that's good. What if it goes away? Yep, still goes away. All right, well that's what I want. I want like the player and then like their total time on ice. And you're probably not going to use this. I mean, you're not going to use this as the statistical feedback. You're probably going to have an output window in Sportscode, but it's nice if you are coding just to have that immediate feedback. Here we go. So here's my first forwards line. And what I want to have as well is just like a button that says, you know, line 1 or something like that. I don't like how you can't double click the buttons you open the inspector. I have to go to the inspector over here. But either way, here we are. Make that big. And I want this to be forwards line 1. Actually, I don't even want this to be, oh no, I do need this to be a button. But I don't need this to be a button. That's alright. It makes sense to have a button, so let's make this just a different color. It's going to look kind of boring color scheme wise because everything's going to be very generic, but that's kind of on purpose. And oh, maybe you hold down shift, it makes the button smaller. I don't want that. Here we go. Probably make this a little bit bigger. You got to remember that you're not clicking this with a mouse, you're clicking it with your fingers, so it does need to kind of be relatively big because you want to push it. And am I happy with everything else? Yep. So what I'll then do is push this down. I want this to activate this button, activate this button, and activate this button. I'm just going to save this real quick just so I know it's here. Time on ice. There we go. Interesting looking file type. Look at that. Looks weird. Alrighty, so I've got my kind of first thing here. What I'll probably also need is a second button here, What I don't like, again, that there's no way to turn everything off, unless you could just do a tag. I guess this would work. Yeah, I guess I could just do a tag. A tag being their word for label. Probably can do that for this as well. You change the button type? No. Alrighty. Get rid of that. Have to go through that process again. /1. Do a bit of this. That's all good. That's all good. Do a bit of this. Do a bit of that. There we go. Back to where we started. And I just need now to activate, activate, activate. What I should do is not just do that, just copy and paste this here. So I need a button that's essentially like deactivate all or kill all. What should I call it? Let's just go off. Make this red. I need to make this a lot bigger. Not changing my text. There we go. Off. Probably make this like more square. That's too tall. There we go. Off. And this is going to deactivate all the buttons. So now I just need to repeat this process, but I've already done it once, so this will be quick. So let's just copy this, and then I will need to test it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. /2. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be /3. And I'll do one more. And I'll probably add, I probably will add a power play button as well and a penalty kill button, just because I think those might be relevant for whoever's tagging time on ice to also tag. You know, the main coder might be doing that as well. They probably would be. But just to have that information there in case. Similar kind of concept, because you might be tagging both. You might be tagging both time on ice and things like that, and the special teams. Now I'm wondering if there's a way that I can have, like, you know, one line turn off the other. You'd probably need, yeah, so I probably need, if I want this, I also probably need to have this go deactivate all of these as well. Oh boy, there's going to be a lot of deactivation links. And send this over here. The problem is I need to do this for every single one, so I might stop the recording here and come back after that's That's all done. Alrighty, so I've added all those deactivation links. So now you'll see that each one of these players has a bunch of links to both their players to turn them on and then the other players to turn them off, which is, the concept that if you're turning on one line, you're turning off the other line. Well, at least in theory. So I need to now do the same thing for the defenders or the defensemen. So let's just add let's say like a break here. Make that like 2 pixels high. Make it the color of, oh, that's the stroke. I don't care about the stroke. Oh boy, it's definitely not what I wanted to do. That looks horrific. There we go. Sometimes I feels like I just lose. Like, what the hell? What's going on now? There we go. Goodness. Well, there we go. Seems to have worked. I don't know where that other thing came from, so here we go. Let's move this across. That's my little break. Because like all this grid won't be grid, it will be just white. So I'm not too concerned about that. Let's make this a bit thicker. And now let's do defenseman. Still haven't done I did all my deactivation links for those players, but I need to do the same thing there. So this should not take as long. Defense line 3. Defense line 2. And defense line 1. You also see I changed the buttons there from like grey to blue. That's just to kind of separate them, because those aren't going to show up, I think, in the. I say I think like I don't know. I don't think they will show up in the timeline. So they're just kind of like indicators there. So these should be good then, that they're turning like these buttons off already, so I don't need to worry about that. What I do need to do is create now these deactivation links from this off button to these buttons, and then I can go to my special teams, and then we should be done. I might check another template that a colleague of mine has made just to make sure I've got everything. There we go. So let's do that. Just on my other screen doing that. It's probably going to show up on the other screen anyway. Yeah, so this is another colleague of mine's window. It's around about the same thing. It's got around the same modes. He's just got pictures, and they're in these nice boxes, which look nice. He's got the same concept. He's got his defenseman over there. Because that's a good point. I only need the 2 defensemen per thing, so that's actually a good shout by him. I might move these over here. Make sure they're lined up. No, don't do that. Great, now I'm going to have to check the sizing of these. So how big is this? 150/40. Oh. How big are these? I try these all stay the same size anyway. No, they don't. 125/75. There we go. So we probably don't need that then. And what I will do then is I'll put power play and penalty kill. I'll put them here. So let's go tag. Actually, yeah, tag. And this is called power play. I don't know if I need to have the goalkeepers on. That's kind of like another thing. I don't know if that's relevant for time on ice. Because they're on the ice all the time, obviously. They're not doing shifts unless one changes, but that's kind of a big event in itself. Now these will show up on the timeline, so I might make these buttons white. For some reason I do see a lot of white buttons. That does seem to be the standard for hockey code windows, is making every button color white. Not entirely sure why. But I don't need these to turn any other buttons on or off. They're just kind of independent. That shift thing is very annoying. This is now penalty kill. Here we go. So here are my two buttons, and I guess this can turn these ones off as well. So the only way we can really test this is, well, we can test it by just going to code anyway. But we'll put it on the iPad as well and see what it looks like. But let's just go code, start. Okay, so now we'll say, okay, /1, /2, /3, /4, defense 1, defense 2, defense 3, off, and then I can also select individual groupings. If I went just 2, yep, just 3, okay, I want to select him instead of him. Okay, now we're just going to line 4, power play and penalty kill. Look at that. Perfect. Now what you would do in theory is you'd go stop, that would create the XML, and then you would import that XML into a timeline. So let's put this on the iPad and see what it looks like. So code it, time on ice. Oh, that's right, I need to go command center. Need to open up my iPad. I'm going to plug my iPad in so we can see what it looks like on the screen cap. Actually, I don't think you can share this. Let's have a look. Here are my forms. I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to rename it. Can I rename it? No, I can't rename it. Delete that one. And here's my time on ice. There we go. Delete this. So let's see if I can share my iPad. So you should be able to see my iPad now. So what this should look like now is that when I go to time on ice, here is my screen now. This has actually been good to do because now I see that it's probably too small. Well, I made it too small. I need to probably put the defenseman underneath my forwards line. I mean, because you can see everyone, but it is kind of clipping there on the edge. So I might just need to nudge those in a little bit to get everyone on the same screen, which is all right. But again, I'll probably do that on the on the Mac. But now in theory what this would be, it would be start, and be like, okay, forwards line 1, defense line 2, okay, forwards line 3, off, okay, I just want, these 5 players, run the power play, off, all that good stuff. Feels good to see it like this because it just means I know now what I need to do. I can probably move my forwards lines to the left a little bit as well to create some more space, but everything just needs to be a little bit more cramped together. In fact, I'm wondering if I should just have boxes that kind of extend all the way across. No, that might be confusing. Let's exit out of that. Alrighty. So, where's my mouse? There it is. So let's reopen up my Time on Ice design. So I'm thinking, like, could I just do something like, where it covers everything like this, and I send it to the back, and it's kind of like that, and I make it smaller that way, and I just have like the name here, and I can pick the whole line like that. But I'm wondering if that will be confusing. But it'll certainly make it smaller, at least in theory. Let's do that because I think that would look nice. Just going to move this down here so I can see it better. So how big's this button now? This button is 513. I need to move the name horizontally. It's probably too big now. It's annoying you can't like stack. What does that do? Doesn't do anything. Alrighty. I'd have to make it go out even further. So we want to do 545 by 90. We can. I probably want a bit more of a gap. 36. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Alrighty, so that's one. Let's get the rest of these like that. So I want this to be 545 and 90. And this is minus 36. Minus 36. Oh boy, that's not a number. What the hell is going on here? I just have to do all the manual work. There she is, and let's move it to the back. Bit of this, bit of that. Doesn't line up completely for some reason. One, two, three, four, five. Try to move this like one more this way. There we go. Now it's lined up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know like no one cares about how these things are lined up more than I do, but I just find it very satisfying to have it all properly lined up. What are my numbers again? 5, 4, 5, and 90. 90. Let's move this to the back. And this needs to be minus 36. Surely no one finds watching me doing this interesting, but maybe it's relaxing. I don't know. All right. One, two, three, four, five. Last one. 5, 4, 5, and 90, and minus 36. Send this to the back. See how this lines up. Oh, nailed it. Nailed it. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, one thing I learned from just putting that on the iPad is this probably needs to be like crunched as close to the side as I can. So let's do that. And this will be the same. These will need to be 90, but they definitely don't need to be 545 big. You know what, extend all of them at the same time. No, just one at a time. Let's do the first one. And let's actually just move it down here again so I can actually see what I'm doing. Let's go center back. Probably want to look like that. Yeah, this will be not minus 36. This will be minus 31. 31 will do. So here's number 1. And how big did I make this? 420. Send it back, and this was minus 31. It's all lined up correct. So resisting the urge to hold down shift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've now learned that shift breaks it for reasons I don't understand. 420. Send it back. Minus 31. Do a bit of this, do a bit of that. See if I light it up, which I did. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I need to, again, just make sure this is kind of like crunched. It's kind of the benefit of having the blocks because you can kind of have them closer together. It's not going to be an issue. Here we go, and alrighty. Are these buttons the same? Yeah. So that's kind of what it's going to look like now. So let's save that. Let's open up the iPad and let's move this to, oh, no, I don't want that one. Command Center, open up Coda. I want to delete this version, delete the XML I made earlier, and let's move this now. Yep. Alrighty, so let's see what this looks like now. No, wrong one. So I'm looking at my iPad. For some reason it's showing the previous version of my Time on Ice window. It's not what I want. Delete. Right, if I open up, so here's the new version as I want it. So if I upload this to here, there we go, alrighty. So you see what this looks like now. Much better, look at that. Fits horizontally. In fact, I've even got some room over there on the right hand side, but now it should be start. Let's go like that, like that, like that. Can pick and choose who I want. Then I can just select a whole line, same over here. Look at that. Awesome, I'm happy with that. Maybe I can throw some branding or something at the bottom there. But this should definitely get the job done. Again, it's very basic. The user would just have to go in and do the obvious thing of changing the names from insert player to the actual names of the player. Again, it's nice when you actually have the pictures like my colleague has here, but I'm trying to make this generic, so this would probably be a better version of the window, but it's not practical, at least if I'm trying to make something a bit more generic for the user. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, obviously my email is in the description below and you can reach out. And if you do want a implementation training on Coda or Sportscode, or if you don't have Coda and want it, again, you can reach out to me in the email below and I can connect you with the relevant person. Thanks for watching and have a good day.